Unless you're a healthy, well-rounded individual that's not chronically online or constantly dissociating into fiction, then you've probably heard that there's a new Hunger Games movie out, and that everyone that had a Hunger Games phase is unlocking an era of obsession that they have not experienced in years, and they're being insufferable about it. And I'm one of them. When I originally had the idea to make a Hunger Games themed crafting video, I wanted to celebrate the release of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by making a whole bunch of Hunger Games themed decor. But then I thought, how are a Mockingjay pillow and a burnt baguette plushie going to help me get into the Hunger Games mood? No, this isn't right. I need to dig deeper. I need to become the Hunger Games. So instead, I'm going to create a Katniss Everdeen costume completely out of crochet, thus turning myself into a crochet doll of Katniss Everdeen. And I'm gonna read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Okay, let's begin. So the goal here is to turn myself into a Katniss Everdeen Crochet Doll. So I'm thinking that we're gonna need to do something full coverage because we'll obviously have to be prepared for the arena. But I am also trying to be a little realistic about my crochet abilities here. So I'm thinking that for the top, we will have a little tank to start things off. And then over top of that, we can add a shrug to kind of give that full coverage that we're looking for. I'm also thinking we'll do like a simple straight leg pant so that they're comfortable, easy to run in. That way we can get away from the careers while we're in the arena. And then of course, we'll need to represent District 12 while we're in there. So we'll make ourselves a Mockingjay pin. And then to defend ourselves while we're in the arena, we will definitely need a bow and arrow. There we go. Then so that we can really embody Katniss and her roots, I think we're going to have to create a classic Katniss Everdeen hairstyle with a classic Katniss braid to top it all off. And I am hoping that with all of this, we will be indistinguishable from a plushy Katniss Everdeen crochet doll. Okay, we are going to be starting with the pants.
I followed this Copy Cali tutorial, and the goal is just to make a simple straight leg pair of pants to keep up with the crochet doll theme. The first step was the waistband, which I did end up making a little bit too big, and after the waistband, the pants are basically just an endless series of half double crochets into the crochet void, and I think it may have worn on me a little bit.
Do you guys believe in ghosts? Because I don't, then I do. I don't, then I do. You know what I mean? Like I don't, and then all of a sudden, that's a ghost. I believe in ghosts. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure that there's a ghost in my apartment currently trying to murder me. But other than that, things are going great. Well, actually, they're going okay. I thought that I would be further along than I am because I've been working on these pants for 2 days now, and this is all I have. But I clearly don't have an understanding of crochet time yet because I was like,
I can finish a whole pair of pants in one day.
It's been 2 days and I don't even have a full butt yet. But I need to give you an update because guys, I'm like 3/4 of the way through a song of A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, A Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds. I genuinely might throw up. It is, and they just like, wow, you know what I mean? I was one of the people that was hesitant to read it because I was like, I don't really want to read a book about President Snow. Like, he is the scum of the earth. I was wrong. Not only do I want to read a book about President Snow, I wish there were another one. And no, hold on, that's not because I like him now. He is the epitome of gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. He's the gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss king. And yet, the way that Miss Suzanne Collins is using perception is like literally blowing my mind, because you are reading about the perception that Snow, as the narrator, has of himself. Like, he thinks he's this really good stand-up guy. And then you also are getting the perception of everybody around him, and they also think that he's like a good stand-up guy with a good moral compass and like going in the right direction, like he's a good kid. And yet the entire time you're reading it, you're like, this This man is disgusting. It almost feels like while you're reading it, you're being gaslit. It's phenomenal. But what I want to say, what this whole stupid rant is about, is that if you are like, I don't know if I want to read about snow, read it. Even if you're like, that doesn't sound like a great experience, but read it. The experience is phenomenal. I think it's gonna be a 5-star read. I'm so excited to see the movie now. And I hate snow with everything that I have in my being. Let's continue.
I needed a pants break, so I started working on the tank top using a nice puke green yarn and following this tutorial by Maggie Keller. This is what I did that night, then I finished it the next morning and tried to grapple with the reawakening of my Hunger Games obsession.
I knew that I was gonna be really excited for the new movie coming out, but I think I underestimated the hold that this franchise has over me. It brings me back to that childhood feeling of loving something so deeply in the way that only a tween girl can love something. You know what I mean? But the more I dive into it, the more sad it makes me that I don't like feel that way about things anymore. So it's never gonna be the same. I think this is just what it means to be a teen girl in your 20s. It's time to kick things into gear, people. Okay, we are locking in, we're getting in the zone, and we're crocheting the heck out of today. I managed to finish the body of the shrug that I'm making. So today we are definitely going to be going until the sleeves are done. And then we are going to get into accessories.
I love the checkered pattern of this shrug. I think it gives it like a distressed, patchy vibe without actually being distressed. And I ended up not weaving any of the ends in to keep that aesthetic. And like everything else in this project, the shrug did take longer than I expected.
It's 1 in the morning and I just finished the shrug. I wanted to also start on the accessories today, and I'm not a quitter, so start on the accessories we shall.
I started by making a mockingjay pin with a yellow yarn that I already had in stock, and using a written pattern I found on Reddit, which took me a second to figure out, but once I knew how to read the pattern, seeing the pieces come together was actually really satisfying. The next morning, I started sewing all the pieces together, and I knew that because of the yarn I used, the pin would be bigger than the one in the original pattern. So I had to improvise a bit with the outer ring, and it ended up being a little too floppy, so I was planning on hot gluing the outer ring of the pin to secure it, but I quickly realized that the hot glue would just make a mess. So I ended up making a smaller ring and decided that bobby pins would work well enough to hold its shape. Once it was all sewed together, I could move on to the other accessory for this transformation.
Okay, for the bow and arrow, I'm thinking that I kind of want it to be pointed on both ends and then slightly curved throughout. And I couldn't find a pattern, so I'm making this up as I go a little bit. And the part that I'm the most nervous for are the pointed tips because I don't know how to do that. So I found a tutorial for this dinosaur with kind of a cone pointed shaped tail. And I'm just gonna do the tail part of the tutorial and then see if I can kind of build up from there.
As I went, I stuffed the bow, which was a surprisingly unpleasant texture, and as you'll see, I struggled a bit with shaping the bow to keep a steady curve, but the imperfections just add to the aesthetic, right? I added a bowstring and decided to sew the arrow directly onto the bow, and I was pretty happy with how it turned out.
Are you coming to the I just think as adults, we should play more. Let's play. I'm just playing with my little toy that I made all by myself. Oh no. Okay, good night. It's on. That is right, everyone. Today, we are taking on the pants. I have about half of one leg done, and it took me like 2 days. I think it's gonna take for fucking ever, and I don't care. I'm not stopping until it's done. We're finishing these freaking pants, dude. All it is half double crochet after half double crochet after half double crochet after half double crochet, and then you have a pair of pants. That's all you have to do, is just half double crochet until you can't see in front of you anymore. You just have to half double crochet, and then it's gonna be over. And then it's gonna be over. Oh my god. I just finished The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I have full body chills. That book is haunting. Ugh, haunting. It should be required reading in school and talked about by everybody in this country. This book should be studied in schools. 5 stars. Oh my god, I wish I could see the movie tomorrow. I finished. I finally finished. The pants are done. They look like poofy pirate capris, and they're not all that visually interesting, but I think they're gonna work. All I have left to do is the hair, and then me and Katniss will be one at last. It's the last day! Let's go! Let's go! All we're missing is the hair. I'm pretty sure that I can finish this last piece today, so I'm excited.
I was inspired by this crochet doll that was gifted to me as a kid, so I started this wig by making a brown beanie that would just about cover my hairline, and then I added a section in the back to cover the bottom of my hairline too. Then I started on a classic Katniss braid, which I made out of individual cords grouped together and then braided. I was also inspired by this tassel on the end of this bookmark that I made when I was first learning to crochet, and I thought that adding a tassel and then brushing it out would add to the hair effect that I was going for. Then I kind of shoved the cords through the beanie stitches where I wanted the top end of the braid to be, and then I sewed the braid to the beanie all along the back so that it would hide that bottom hairline section and wrap around my shoulder.
I think we're done. Oh. Hold on. The braid is kind of fire. Anyway, I think the only thing left is to finally put all of this together. Hello. I am not wearing the wig anymore. Hold on, I'll grab it. I just finished filming the reveal shots, and if you're a little bit disappointed in them, I probably will be too. But I had to stop because the police got called on me. Hold on, let me give you the full effect. This obviously isn't my place, but it's a family member's. Like, I had permission to be here. I know the neighbors, and yet they called the cops on me. So, and they said that there was like a suspicious character running around. Katniss is anything but suspicious, dare I say. But yeah, I had a very strange conversation with a police officer and needed to take the wig off to have that conversation. I'm pretty stoked with how things turned out regardless. Nothing turned out completely perfect. Like, the wig is very different than where you last saw it. Obviously, it's kind of falling apart now after the whole cup fiasco. But I did end up going through and just like punching a whole bunch of yarn into the whole thing so that it looked more like hair. So that ended up better than I thought it would, actually, even though it was still a mess. And the pants, hold on. The pants are a thing of nightmares, I would say. They are a little short. They are kind of capri vibes, although the waist is like way too big now. So I would do that differently next time for sure. Smaller seam. I'm out of breath, sorry. I was just running from the cops. I didn't run from them. I didn't run from them. But I could go on and on about it forever. And I'm probably gonna go see the movie, like, tonight. But first, I gotta call my mom. Bye.